Jennifer's probably trying to find a place to park.
What she died of? Stubbed toe.
You know, fortunately, we don't have like 12 fireworks applications before we get.
I know, right? I was happy to see because I figured a lot of people would show up. I was happy to see it was the only thing on the agenda. I was like, okay. Yeah, I know. So who does her home go to? Huh? Oh, really? You gonna rent it, sell it? Yeah. I don't know. What's your question? Flooded 93. I mean, it says changes and/or deletions to the agenda. So I would think during that period, you could say, yeah, I'd like to move number C up to number A. Yeah. You know. But we've all seen it happen too. And it stinks for them and us because then you get your all brainwashed and you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, and then you don't pay attention to the second, you know, or the last one.
Well, it's 7 o'clock. Oh, here she comes. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, we didn't have one.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
I said she's probably trying to.
That would be a hard message. The one. You gotta go home.
We're waiting on you.
Oh, no problem. We figured you had a hall.
Well, my daughter had to go babysit. She got drunk.
Artie, sit down, Artie. Artie. Okay, you ready? Laura, you ready? Ready? Everybody ready over there? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the October 15th, 2025 St. Charles County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. At this time, I request that everyone please turn off or mute all electronic devices, including cell phones. Also at this time, I would ask each of you to please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Concerning the applications on tonight's meeting agenda, following public comments, the Planning and Zoning Commission will vote to recommend that the County Council approve, deny, or amend the applications. The applications will then be scheduled to be introduced at the Monday, November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting. That is the Monday, November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting. Public comment made tonight shall be limited to 3 minutes per speaker for the sake of time. We ask the public not to repeat previous testimony. If you're planning to speak, please fill out a speaker card. Come here. One of these cards over here that Ms. Hayes has, and return that to Ms. Hayes. This ensures that we get your name and address information correct in our minutes. The following documents are introduced as a matter of record for this evening's public hearing and regular meeting of the St. Charles County Planning and Zoning Commission. Those documents are the Unified Development Ordinance of St. Charles County, including the zoning map, the year 2030 Master Plan for St. Charles County, which includes the year 2030 Future Land Use Plan map, and the Rules of Order and Procedure for the Planning and Zoning Commission as adopted by Resolution 21-01. I see we have a quorum. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is made and seconded to open the meeting. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is open. Okay. Before we get started, I'll give you a little brief rundown of how we conduct the meeting. I'll read into the record the applications. And tonight we have 2 applications, but we're going to hear those together since they're interrelated. And we will ask at that point in time the staff to give their report. And during their report, members of the commission may have questions for the staff. Once the staff has completed their report, we'll then ask the applicant to come forward and present the application, what they are asking the commission and ultimately the county council to approve. Members of the commission may have questions for the applicant. Once the applicant has finished their presentation, then we will open the public hearing. At that time, anyone wishing to speak regarding either one, in this case, either one of the applications can come forward. As I did say, our rules of order and procedure are in effect for this meeting. So if you do come forward, I will have to swear you in, give you an oath to swear or affirm that you're telling the truth. We will limit each speaker to 3 minutes, okay? And like I said in the opening comments, once someone has talked about a particular subject, I know somebody's going to mention traffic, okay? We know that, okay? But after 2 or 3 times, the 4th and 5th time of talking about traffic gets a little redundant, okay? So once you've spoken about a topic, we've made note of that. So unless you're going to bring up something new or different, and a different concern, you're more than happy to speak during the public hearing. Before I had one of the people there and that's here this evening ask if they could ask questions. And the answer to that is no. Then the commission is here to hear the information and make a decision. And so you may ask a question, but if none of us respond, don't take it personally because we don't answer questions. We may ask you a question, we may ask the applicant a question. But once everyone has had who wants to speak has had the opportunity, then we'll close the public hearing. According to our rules, once the public hearing is closed, we will not take further comments from the public unless a majority of the commission decides that we want to allow someone to come back even though the public hearing has been closed. Once the public hearing has been closed, we'll ask the applicant to come back and address any issues that came up during the public hearing. And then once we have finished with the applicant the second time, then the commission will take the matter under consideration and then we will vote. We will have 2 different votes this evening because there's 2 applications. One is dealing with the preliminary plat for this site, and then the other one is dealing with the plan unit development. Okay, I'll ask Councilor Wise to explain this process, and it's a little different than a normal process.
The one thing I wanted to mention regarding to plan unit developments, I know when we're dealing with preliminary plats, it's usually a final judgment here if it's approved or something. But I just wanted to point out that regardless of the action that's taken here, the final decision on the preliminary plat side, along with the development plan of the plan unit development, will be made by the county council. Yeah. So that's a little bit different in that regard. Yeah, normally on a preliminary plat, once we approve it, it's been approved. The only time the county council is involved is if there is a denial on our part. But in this situation, what we would be making with our vote is only a recommendation to the county council. The county council has the final vote. So ours is just a recommendation. And as I stated, then this will be our recommendation, whatever it ends up being, will be on the county council's agenda on Monday, November 10th of 2025. With that, I see there's no changes or additions to our agenda. The first item that we have is PRE 25-11 and PUD 25-01.
The property is located at 588 and 632 East Highway N. The property owners are Minsher Investment Partnership LP, Neil Minsher, Emmanuel Lutheran Church of Wentzville, and Four Arrows Ranch LLC. The surveyor and engineer is Vols Incorporated. The request is review and recommendation on a preliminary plat and final development plan for the Mincer Farm subdivision, which would consist of 520 dwellings, 7 commercial lots, and 1 institutional lot totaling 255.15 acres. Staff.
This presentation will cover the application for preliminary plat and final development plan for Mincer Farms subdivision, also known as Trailside Farm. This application is not for any rezoning or concept plan approval. Those steps have already been addressed and approved. For some context, I will cover some background information on planned unit developments. St. Charles County's zoning regulations offer planned unit developments, or PUDs, as an alternative to development under traditional zoning. The intent of this program is to permit greater flexibility and provide for more creative and imaginative design for new developments in the county. This allows for the development of more mixed land uses than is generally possible under conventional zoning regulations. The district aims to promote housing choices, flexible building placement, and the preservation of natural scenic open spaces by respecting the topography and geography of the property. In addition to allowing a broader range of land uses, flexibility can also be granted for zoning height, area, and lot requirements. We will now move on to discussing the zoning for the final development plan. The subject properties are located on the south side of Highway N, in between Emmanuel Lutheran Church and St. Gianna Catholic Parish. The property, totaling 255 acres in area, is currently zoned R1B, single-family residential, and has an approved planned unit development overlay. The properties contain a floodway and a floodway fringe overlay district in the southwest portion of the property. In January of 2010, the County Council rezoned the property to R1B, single-family residential, and approved a PUD concept plan. That concept plan authorized the project to be 8% commercial, 7% institutional, 25% attached single-family units, and 60% single-family detached units. The original development plan included amenities that provided a density bonus that would allow for up to 531 dwellings on the property. This approval sat dormant until earlier this year. The developer requested the Community Development Director to allow the development review process to continue by approving a time extension as authorized by County Code. As part of this request, a PUD concept plan that accords with the approved 2010 concept plan was submitted and approved. The approved concept plan provides for 8% of the property to be commercial areas, 6% of the property as institutional, 25% of the property as attached single-family dwellings, 57% of the property as single-family detached dwellings, and the remaining percentage of the property will be developed as conservation and recreation areas. This includes items such as a ball field, an ice skating rink, a community garden, a War of 1812 memorial, and a trail network. The county PUD ordinance requires a minimum of 15% of the project area to be dedicated as open space, and the project well exceeds that. The common ground will be owned and managed by the Homeowners Association and will preserve the Little Darden Creek floodplain, all of the steep slopes in the development, a family cemetery, and residential amenities such as trails, water bodies, a community garden, a baseball diamond, and a War of 1812 memorial. The PUD ordinances allow for the inclusion of density bonuses. Following the density bonus calculations contained in the written staff memo, the approved concept plan shows a total of 520 dwellings. This is 11 dwellings less than the original proposed development and less than the currently allowed maximum number of units. The current proposal will require some flexibility from the strict applications of the R1B single-family zoning district underlayment to this PUD. The development will have 4 different typical single-family detached residential lots. Those will range from 44 feet in width to 90 feet in width and 130 plus feet in depth. The underlying zoning would require a minimum of 100 feet in lot width. The developer is also requesting the reduction in minimum lot sizes from the 20,000 square foot lot size minimum. The requested averages are 5,830 square feet to 12,150 square feet. The developer is also requesting a reduction of the front building line from 25 feet to 20 feet. The side yard setbacks are also requested to be reduced from 10 feet to 7 feet. The development will also have attached single-family dwellings, and they will comply with the R3A zoning district requirements as permitted under the PUD zoning ordinance. Having discussed zoning for the development, we will now discuss the proposed preliminary plat. In terms of tree preservation, the developer is proposing to preserve 37% of the existing trees on site, which exceeds the county's minimum requirements for tree preservation. We will next look at the watercourses on the property. The subdivision ordinances have many regulations that work to preserve the water quality in our streams. The property contains the Little Darden Creek and approximately 2,400 feet of a watercourse that is used to drain the areas in this development. The ordinances require a 25-foot vegetated buffer from the top of bank on our blue line streams. A blue line stream is determined by the United States Geological Survey. This property also contains floodway and floodway fringe designated property in the southwest part of the development. The property that is designated as a vegetated buffer, floodway, and floodway fringe are located within the common ground as required by the subdivision ordinances of the county. Staff finds that the floodplain and stream buffer requirements are met. A primary concern for this development is transportation access to the site. Staff will address what tasks the county is currently undertaking and what the developer is proposing for this property. The county is currently working with MoDOT to improve Highway N from the intersection with Highway Z on the west to I-64 on the east. This design process started in late 2023 with preliminary designs to be completed by December of 2025. Currently, the design will contain 2 lanes of traffic in each direction with a raised median in the center of the roadway with sidewalks on each side. To accommodate this, the development will need to dedicate some land to right-of-way. The required right-of-way width is still being determined by the county and MoDOT. The proposed commercial lots that front on Highway N should have sufficient depth to accommodate this dedication. MoDOT will require the developer to prepare an engineered traffic study to ensure that the improvements to Highway N are properly designed and constructed. There will be an extension to Perry Cate Boulevard that will serve as the primary access point for this subdivision. It will eventually extend down to an extension of Deer Road. The extension will curve behind the Emmanuel Lutheran Church and curve eastward towards the property line. It will allow for traffic to and from the church, school, and subdivision to access Highway N at a signaled intersection. The county will share in the cost to construct this collector street in order to extend the county's road network. The internal subdivision streets will be built to county standard for public streets. The Wentzville School District comments that they do not enter cul-de-sacs as a general practice. The developer did include a loop road, so buses will not have to enter the cul-de-sacs. Those students living on a cul-de-sac will have to either walk to a loop road or be dropped off there. Excuse me. The subdivision ordinance does require a maximum block length of 1,320 feet. There is one road, an S-curve road in the middle of the subdivision, that does exceed this length maximum. The engineer for the development is asking for a variance from this requirement as allowed by county code, as adding the street intersection would create practical difficulties. This development has an extensive network of sidewalks, side paths, and off-street trails that allow for easy and efficient circulation of pedestrian and bicycle traffic in the neighborhood. This includes a trail that extends along the 3/4 of a mile long natural gas pipeline easement that's in the subdivision. The property will be served by Public Water Supply District Number 2 for water and by Ducky Creek Sanitary District for sewer. As Ducky Creek Sanitary District has recently brought online a new sewage treatment plant on Hopewell Road, this development can be served by public sewer system rather than the previously proposed MBR sewage treatment plant that would have only served this development. This development will not need the installation of any sewage lift stations. The property will be serviced by the Winsville Fire Protection District, and they will assist in the placing of fire hydrants in the community. They will also regulate the required fire flows in the community's water supply. The high-pressure gas line that extends across a large portion of the property is owned by MoGas Pipeline LLC, and the plat does account for all of the regulations that surround a pipeline easement. County code requires that the buildings for private use be a minimum of 25 feet from the property, or from the pipeline, and buildings used for a public use must be a minimum of 100 feet back from the pipeline. If any structure is built within 50 feet of the pipeline, then the pipeline coverings must meet specific U.S. Department of Transportation guidelines. Staff reminds the Planning and Zoning Commission that their role is to recommend either approval, denial, or amendment of the preliminary plat and final development plan by majority vote. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of both the preliminary plat and the final development plan as presented, including approval for the proposed lot sizes, widths, and building setbacks as proposed in the preliminary plat and final development plan, and grant a variance from the subdivision regulations, Exhibit A, to allow one residential block length to exceed 1,320 feet for the S-curve portion of the looped street per section 410.480 of the Unified Development Ordinance.
Questions for staff?
Yeah, so if I understand you correctly, and by reading this, they could go build right now with the R1B.
Yes, they could, if they complied with the requirements for an R1B, yes.
Our question is, the lot size is a little bit different, but it's less homes, and the variance for the S-curve. Those are really the two things that this meeting's about.
So the R1B would allow them to develop on 20,000 square foot lots. This is going to allow them to develop on much smaller lots than that.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
Yeah, I got a couple here. Okay, getting back to the lot size versus the houses. How many, if they went just strictly by the current ordinance, how many houses would they be allowed?
So that's, if it was on a flat piece of ground, let's see, so 255 times 2 essentially. So 500 or 610 roughly.
Okay, that's if it was 100% developable.
Yes, if it was a flat piece of property and it was in perfect shape and you could develop the whole thing and you didn't have to worry about roads.
Do we know how much of this is actually developable?
I don't think that we've done the math figuring out exactly what the buildable area is.
And how many houses are in this planned unit development?
What they're currently proposing is 455 houses.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Robert, did you receive a traffic study at part of this?
No, we don't have a traffic study. The developer's been working with MoDOT and also Roads and Traffic Division for St. Charles County for some months. There's a scoping meeting set up on October 30th with MoDOT and the developer concerning the traffic study. So the scoping meeting, basically they lay out what's the area of study and what are the parameters of the study. And then so they'll have a traffic study following that.
Okay, do you know if that I mean, my biggest concern is that they're gonna study, and they're gonna study just this portion of Highway N, whereas there's concerns all the way down from here, all the way down to Highway 40, 61. So my question is, do you know the limits of that traffic study? Will that, I mean, because we have a lot of at-grade streets, we have driveways.
Yeah.
And these are all gonna be a concern.
That's the purpose of the scoping meeting on October 30th. They'll talk about to what extent, you know, how large of an area is to be included in the traffic study and et cetera. So that's where it'll come out on that, at that time.
But it seems to me that we got the cart before the horse then. Shouldn't we be having this meeting after we have that traffic study so we know the full impact?
Well, the traffic study will show what improvements will need to be built for the development. It'll show the, you know, pavement thickness, the lane widths, the turn lanes, deceleration lanes, sight distance, things like that, coming onto and off of the property. But the traffic study's not going to say, no, this development should not be done. It will end up saying, you know, if this development goes forward, these are the improvements that need to get built.
Yeah, I don't anticipate saying it's not going to need to be forward. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that if they study just this limited area of N, and I understand, you know, they'll show probably turn lanes required and whatnot, but it's not really showing the full impact of what the traffic for this development is going to generate further down N. So I guess, like you said, if you haven't had that scoping meeting, maybe I could sit in on it, but I think that scoping meeting needs to really extend farther because the traffic impact is not isolated to this small location of Highway N, in my opinion. And I really think that's vital for us to vote on this tonight, in my opinion, but that's...
We could take back any comments on the scope of the traffic study and share that with Amanda Brower, who's the Director of Roads and Traffic.
Okay,
And she could take that into account when, at that meeting on October 30th.
Yeah, it just needs to, it needs to extend beyond just this limited area, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
the traffic impact down N is going to be greatly felt. And it's just unfortunate that Highway N is not improved. I mean, if it was not improved, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now, but that's, you know, that's my main concern. So,
Go ahead. Okay. On the plan, are the right-of-way dedications part of this plan?
yeah, you said that.
They will need to dedicate right-of-way along Highway N. We don't know exactly how many feet that's going to be, so we're still working on that detail. I don't know if it's going to be 5 feet or 20 feet, for instance, but I do know that there's enough depth of the lots proposed along Highway N to account for that.
Okay. So that will be in the final to the county council, and that will be part of it?
It'll be part of the preliminary plat to be finalized and signed, and that'll incorporate whatever right-of-way the needs are. I do know that the right-of-way needs to be 130 feet wide in front of this location. We're still trying to determine whether the existing Highway N sits exactly within the middle of that right-of-way or not. So we're trying to nail down the details of exactly how much. Theoretically, it would be, let's see, what would that be? 50, 130, 600, it'd be 65 feet from the center line of Highway N is theoretically what we would need. But we want to ensure that the existing Highway N improvements are sitting in the middle of the center line of that.
Okay. So when they do that, will that cover all the lanes needed? Or is that just
Yes.
for the lanes needed on that side?
No, it'll cover on the
100%,
south side.
100% what's needed?
It will cover the south side of Highway N, yeah.
Okay. But then on the north side, you'd have to buy that from the other
Yes.
property owners?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. To me,
Yes,
they should provide enough to cover the whole.
They can't
Amen.
donate on the other property, no.
Well,
Yeah.
move the road over. The other thing you mentioned, stoplight will go in. Is the developer paying for that?
I don't know the specifics whether
Well,
because
if
it's going
not,
to
they
be,
should.
yeah, it's going to be part of the discussion, I'm sure.
It's part of the what?
Part of the discussion, the funding discussion between the county and the developer. 'Cause we're-
100% should be the developer. It's needed because of them. It should be paid for by them. And then this does bump up to Wentzville city limits?
On the north, yes.
It does, okay, I saw that, I just wanted to make sure. Because they sent, I see the city of Wentzville sent in what they thought of this project. And it's kind of hard.
We can't hear you.
Okay. It's kind of hard to follow going back between your and what they said. How much of what they said correlates to what is being done here? Their concerns, how
Yeah.
much of their concerns have been addressed?
My recollection of the concerns, I disagree with some of the points that they're asking. For instance, they're asking about the master plan for City of Wentzville and for St. Charles County. But the master plan isn't really pertinent in this case because we're past the zoning point. We're talking about the preliminary plat and final development plan. So the property already has the zoning it needs in order to develop. So the master plan isn't really relevant in that regard, for example. That was one of the points that I recall from the. Also, they asked if we could confirm whether or not the approval in 2010 was still valid. And yes, we have gone through that from a legal standpoint in detail. And we've made that determination before we've ever placed this on the agenda.
And does the county ever require developers to pay for the road that
Yes.
need to go in highway? Like, what would be needed additional on highway?
Well, the developers could, engineer could speak better to that than I can, but I can tell you that all interior roads, they're paying for all of that 100%. The proposed road, the Collector Street, the extension of Perry Cape Boulevard, we're looking at the county spending 60% and the developer paying 40%. That's my recollection. The reason is because that's an arterial roadway and it would be using funds from the 1% transportation tax to extend the arterial roadway network. And then for Highway N, honestly, I don't know exactly what the breakdown is in terms of developer contributions for improvements along Highway N.
But there will be some.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, MoDOT's not going to pay for 100% of improvements for developments.
So forgive me if I'm going over stuff we've already talked about, but
Okay.
it seems like a major concern here is going to be the traffic on Highway N itself, particularly between here and, where 364, 61 is, to the east. We often talk in here about the expansion of Highway N, putting more, as it's going west. Eventually, there's in the master plan, plans to expand Highway N, put more lanes in there. What are we talking about here if we're adding in a whole subdivision? Is there going to be an expansion of Highway N? Are we going to have more lanes? Is there going to be more availability for more cars on there? Because clearly that's going to bring more cars.
Right. There's in this county staff report, there's a cross-section of the configuration for Highway N in front of this property. And essentially it would be 2 lanes going each direction and a median. And then there would be signalized intersection at Perry Cate. And there would be turn lanes, deceleration lanes, so if you're going east on Highway N, you could decelerate and then turn on to this south into the development.
And how far down does that go, as Tim was saying? I mean, there's going to be a significant number of more cars there that are going
Yeah.
both directions. So if we just expand it right by the subdivision, that doesn't help as the cars go either direction. Is there a certain
Yeah.
amount of space either way
Well,
that
it's
it
gonna
has to be
be-
expanded?
It's going to be done as one project between Highway Z and 364.
Okay, so that whole area is going to be expanded.
Yeah, it wouldn't just be one segment in front of one particular development.
And do we know when, what is the schedule for having that expansion done?
I don't know the development schedule. I know that they're intending for the design to be finished by the end of this year.
Okay.
That's the information that I have.
I asked that question before this meeting, and what I was told is they're looking at 29, 30. So, we're still what, 5 years away? So that's my understanding. And then with the road projects and trying to get easements and right-of-way, sometimes when it goes to court, it takes a lot longer than they're planned. I mean, as a transportation engineer, I've been involved in many road projects, and I can tell you we always underestimate when we can get these done. So that's again, that's a big concern. If we've got this development adding all this traffic and there's nothing being done on Highway N, then the toothpaste is out of the bag at that point. So
So we'd be talking about putting this in and then sometime down the road, potentially 5 years or more, at that point expanding Highway N. We're not talking about expanding Highway N as this is being built.
no.
Right, but also, development would happen in phases. So what we're looking at is a preliminary plat, which is an integrated development plan, but even after preliminary plat approval, typically developments actually happen in phases. The final plat happens over a period of years. So let's just say a preliminary plat would be approved this year, then the final plats would be phased over the next, 5 years. It's not that an entire development gets done all at once. It's done in stages.
Do we have any sort of schedule for when those stages are planned to be completed? I mean, it sounds like you're saying it'd be 5 years before the whole thing would be done, and by that time, hopefully, we would have Highway N expanded, but is there any sort of a schedule for when they plan to get which stage done?
There's a development schedule on the face of the concept plan for when the different phases would begin. It doesn't have on that concept plan when the phases would end. I think the developers could probably answer that better than I could.
Sure, that makes sense.
Any other questions for staff?
Ms. Barr, I did want to correct something I did say earlier. I said 455 homes, that was incorrect. That was, I believe that was just the detached single family. The total number of dwellings is 520.
So about the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now, ask the applicant to come forward. You solemnly swear or affirm that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is David Voles. I'm with Voles Engineering, and our address is 10849 Indian Head Boulevard, 63132.
Go ahead, Mr. Bowles.
And I'm going to correct you one more time, Mark. It's actually 470. 470 is the current plan.
Okay.
470. Okay. So again, my name is David Voles. I'm with Voles Engineering, and with me tonight is David Kolb with DCM Land, and he's sitting right over there. And I'm going to repeat a lot of what Mark just went through. But we're seeking approval of preliminary plat and final development plan for the 255-acre site on the south side of Highway N, just across from Perry Cate. And the site was originally zoned R1B back in 2010, along with the PUD that allowed 531 units. So back in 2010, the PUD allowed 531 units. And then due to the economy, nothing was built back then, and it was put on hold. And at that time, they were going to put in a membrane treatment plant for the sanitary sewer. When the economy came back, that no longer became available, so the site basically was put on hold until Duckett Creek put their new treatment plant down there, and that's what's opening it back up. So again, our current plan is for 470 units, which is a significant reduction from the 531 that were originally allowed. This is a location map, which I'm sure you all know. That's the site right there in red. Highway N right here, Highway Z going up here. This is Emmanuel Lutheran, which is right there. St. Gianni, and this is Timberland High School, which is right here. The blue is City of Wentzville, the red is Lake St. Louis, and the green is the City of O'Fallon, just to reference. And this is Dardine Creek right down here. And this is actually a branch of Dardine Creek called Little Dardine Creek that comes up and just basically touches the southwest corner of the site. Perry Cate, this is Stone Meadow subdivision. Perry Cate comes down right here, right to there. And there's actually an existing signal there right now. So this is already signalized. And the plan ultimately would be to bring, and it become Dyer on the south side here, but bring it down to here. And this is Dyer Road right here, which goes over to Highway D. And so Dyer Road is built to right here, right now. So Perry Kate Dyer would come down to here, and then eventually, when this piece was developed, you would have basically that arterial road that went all the way through there. So that's the ultimate plan. Let me show you the aerial of the site so you can get a better idea of it. Obviously, these are the wooded, or the farms area. So all of this is open farm. This is a mostly a wooded area. Again, Perry Kate up here, Emmanuel Lutheran, St. Gianni. This is New Melly Lakes, which is a large lot subdivision to the west of us. And a couple things I want to point out here is this right here is a pretty good creek. And so these are the constraints that I would say on the site. So you have a creek right here that we can't and don't want to disturb. And this is the pipeline. So the pipeline runs right up through here. And then this right here, again, is Little Dardine Creek on the south. And now I just want to go through some history of the site, which Mark did as well. But this right here is the 2010 concept plan. And this is when the site was rezoned to R1B with the PUD for the 531 units. This was where they had proposed Perry Kate at the time. We're actually moving it over here. But all the area on the west side of that is designated as single family. All the area on the east side of that was designated attached villas. So this is an attached area right here. And again, that's the church. And then this area is the commercial area. And again, it was delayed by the recession and Duckett Creek sewer. So this is the current concept plan that we have. Didn't switch. This is the current concept plan. So basically, again, this is the single family area, and the attached villa areas are right now here and here. So there's two areas for the villas. So it's much, much smaller. And this is the Emmanuel Lutheran plan. And then the commercial area is up here. So what I wanted to say is that all of these things, and here's the site plans that went along with that. This is the site plan, and this is the rendering that was done as part of that concept plan. And going through the history, all of these plans that you see here are all done, approved, passed, and these are all past history. So the next process after you have a concept plan approval is the final development plan, and they call it a final development plan because your zoning's already in place, your concept's already in place, and what we do when we do the final development plan is we have better topo, we have better information, and so we start doing design on it. So this is our final development plan. I just want you to see the difference between the two plans. They're basically identical. So this final development plan is almost identical to the concept plan that was previously approved. The exception is that this one has 470 units, and I think the concept plan had 470, it had 4 more units. And honestly, they're changing the name. So those are the two big changes when we got to this final plan that you're looking at. And I just want to talk about the layout here because this was actually very fun to work on. Sometimes we do projects and it's a grid type project where we're just trying to do the max we can. But on this project, there really was a goal to try to make it a nice looking project where we use big giant loops and S-curve. This is actually the S-curve that we're talking about right there. But you can see that we loop the road and there are curves in it. And the other thing I want to point out here is there's really three distinct development areas, and that's why I wanted to bring up those constraints earlier. So you have the pipeline running up through here, and then you have the road right here. So this right here is its own thing. So these are actually the 44-foot lots right here, and that's where the collector road will be. Then you have the creek coming up here in the pipeline. So this was another basically it's not a second subdivision, it's all part of this, but we kind of had to plan it all separately. And these are the 62-foot lots in this area right here, with access right here off the collector road. And then this is the 78s and 90-foot lots. And you can see that we were just pretty creative with that, and I was really proud of how that thing came out. And then up here are the 7 commercial lots. One thing I'll say about the commercial lots is the goal was to put a road down here, and actually it connects to St. Gianna. But the road down here means that the access to these out parcels comes off of the internal road, not off of Highway N. Although there is going to be a right in, right out here, which is directly across the street from what the school has right there. But that right there is the intersection, and that's Perry Cape to the north of it. But that already is signalized, so. Some of the amenities that I wanted to point out on this site. First, what Mark had said is true, the common ground area here, what's required under a PUD is 15% common ground, and we actually have 26% of this site as common ground. And that includes, that being in there not as common ground. So we have 26%, 57 acres of it is common ground. The wooded areas, we're required to maintain 25% of the existing vegetation or existing woods, and this site has 37%. And that's all in these areas up through this creek. That's a wooded creek, which is pretty nice. And then what we did is we put the development on the farm. That's all farmland where the homes go. So the areas that were not farmland, that are existing woods out there right now, those are the areas that we tried to preserve. So we're preserving 50% more of the woodland areas than we're actually required to. Another thing I wanted to point out is one of the things, and the new name is Trailside, so there should be trails on here. So along the pipeline, going from here to here, there's going to be trails along here. There's trails that go around these lakes and connect down to this area right here. And there's actually 2 miles of trails that are going to be part of the development, not including the sidewalks which go along the street. So the sidewalks, there's about 4 miles of sidewalks. So in this development, 470 lots, we have 6 miles of sidewalks and trails. And that's one of the reasons why we're calling it Trailside. And then in addition to that, you have this whole area over here, which is just basically natural area for people to hike in. Another thing that we have as part of this PUD is, actually this is not part of the PUD, but it used to be part of the Mencher family, but you really have 2 churches that are part of it. These trails that come along here and even through here, where you see these bump outs right here, one of the things that we're trying to do there is to highlight the fact that this was a farm, and this is a farm property. So there's going to be exhibit areas in there, and what that means is they're going to put things that correlate with the farm, like old equipment, stuff like that are going to be on display in these exhibit areas that are throughout the project. A couple playgrounds. I know there's a playground here. There's a big playground in this area down here. There's 6 lakes. There's more detention basins, but 6 of them are going to be wet and lakes. The Soldier Memorial is going to be at the entrance, and that's actually located right here. And that honors the veterans from the War of 1812. I don't really know much about that, but I know that was an important thing that we tried to put in here. In fact, when we did this layout originally, the lake was going to be up here, and then the memorial was going to be right here. But because they wanted that as you came in the entrance to be one of the things you see, but us dumb engineers like to put the lakes on the low side. So we moved it down here and put a pretty good lake down here, but the War Memorial is going to be right up there. And then you have this community area right here, and that community area is about 12 plus acres. 12 acres, and here's a blow up of the area. And what you have here is you have a baseball field, you have a playground. Actually, you can drive to it. There's going to be a drive that comes down here with a pretty good sized parking lot. This is a detention basin lake, but what we're going to do is we're going to basically carve off a part of it and make it less deep so that it could be used as an ice rink. And that's one of the things that we were asked to incorporate into the plan. They're going to rebuild some of the structures that are on the property down here. Some of the historic buildings and farm buildings are going to be rebuilt down here, and it's going to be a community garden area and barn history area. So this whole area right here is 12 acres, not to mention the 30 plus acres of common ground as you went to the north here. But that's what you have down there. So let me move on now to, I know the big issue is the traffic concern with MoDOT and Highway N improvements. And I know everybody wants this Highway N to be built from Highway Z all the way to Highway 40 right now, but that's not how MoDOT works. MoDOT doesn't work that way. People bring improvements in, and then MoDOT will solve the problem. We have been preparing a traffic study. It's not done yet, but because we've been meeting with MoDOT. I've had 3 meetings with MoDOT and Amanda Bauer, who's not here. CBB is doing the traffic study. I've talked to George Butler and Associates a bunch of times about what requirements they need right here because we're trying to incorporate this into their plan. They've given me different right-of-ways that they want through that because they're the guys that are doing the design of the thing right now. They're working on it right now, and we've been coordinating that signal. We've been coordinating the road improvements that have to be done right here. What's that? We've been incorporating the right-of-way that we're going to give right there so that it works with their ultimate plan. And, you know, we'll also upgrade that signal right there because right now it's just a T. So when that's upgraded, we want to make sure that the new signal is not going to have to be relocated when the ultimate improvements are done. So that's the other thing we're coordinating with them. Two things that I would point out, and global, you're right, 100% that it needs to be a global study, which CBB has done most of those studies up and down there. So they're very, very familiar with it. So on October 30th, when the meeting takes place, they will be able to scope out what exactly they want. But CBB is very, very, very familiar with the whole thing. Two localized traffic issues, which have nothing to do with the global issue, are one, the Timberland High School, and two, the Lutheran School. And this right here is this traffic that's caused by Timberland High School used to be horrible. It's getting better than it used to be. This year it's better than it was last year, which is better than it was 2 years ago. So, and I drive that every day.
Quiet.
I drive that every day, so I know what that is. Emmanuel, another localized problem is the Emmanuel School right here, because they have one access point right here. And when MoDOT does their ultimate improvements, that's going to be a right in, right out. So if you're driving west on Highway N right now at 3 o'clock, it's horrible because the school's letting out and there's people picking up cars and it's just a horrible thing. And what this project does, it's going to eliminate that localized problem because Emmanuel Lutheran now would have the ability to tie into Dyer Road right here and go through that signalized intersection instead of what happens now, which there's basically a big giant problem from Lake St. Louis Boulevard all the way out here. So anyways, in conclusion, I just want to point out again that this is not a new development. This is not a new development. This is, the zoning's already in place, the concept plan's in place. This is the final plan for a community that was really started in 2010. And that went from 531 units to 470 units, so which is over 60 unit reduction. So sure there's, oh, you know what, let me bring up the S-curve because I actually had forgotten about that. So I think the code says that you can't have a block longer than 1,320 feet. And nobody really, from that point to that point, is being determined as a block. You know, with how we did this design, the goal was to have loops and circulation. So you have circulation all the way around here. You have circulation all the way around here. So that was the plan of the thing. So you know, I just need that variance to allow that S-curve right there. But my comment is that there's plenty of circulation through here, so there's really no need to limit that length. And I don't think anybody would have looked at that from there to there as a block length. So, and with that, I'll answer any questions you have.
Questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I got a couple here.
Sure.
On our info, we have a map that's different from that map. On page 21 of the info you gave us, there's an area that says future development. It's not on there, but it's
Yeah.
on ours.
You know what? I'm glad you corrected me. So over here, and let me see if I can. So that area is right here. And there is a stub that would go down there, and I think that the concept plan allows maybe 20 units there. That would be in addition to the 470 that I said. But this is the property that we're. But there is a future development right there. You couldn't possibly put 20 units over there, but that's that is on the concept plan, and I forgot to mention that. So,
Yeah, I don't.
oh,
when
and
I
you know
have to
what?
find
Here's
info
the,
like
here's
this.
the, from the staff report. This came from the staff report, just so everybody can see it. This is the MoDOT's, this is not mine, this is MoDOT's rendering of the ultimate highway N, with 2 lanes on either side and an island in the middle, and a walk on either side. I think a trail on one side and a walk on the other side. But
Okay, why are you holding this out for future development?
it's not our property. So, so what the Menchers own, there's actually 3 owners here. There's the Lutheran Church, then there's the Mencher family, and then there is what's it? Fort Arrows. So that's when this was done back in 2010, there was actually 3 property owners, and that property owner is not part of this final plan.
Okay, is that future area part of this info, or part of this request?
No. What we have before us tonight is the preliminary plat and final development plan, which is this red outlined area. So the future development area, they'd have to come back later with their own preliminary plat and final development plan.
Okay. On your info, the same question I asked them, are you paying for the stoplight?
There's going to be a joint agreement, which I actually don't know, but just like Robert said with the road right here, there's a joint agreement between the county and the developer, and I think it was a 60-40 split, which is what they've done, you know, throughout the entire county. That's generally the rule. So I'm sure there'll be some type of a split as well with the signal.
Okay, on your map there, how much of that area is developable, acres-wise?
How much of it is what?
On the, where the residential units are, how many acres are the actual residential units? Of the total development, how many?
Well, there is 57 acres of common ground, and this right here, our land proper, I think, is 219 acres. So it'd be 219 minus 57 is the area of lots. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, the area of lots, how many acres is that?
It would be 219 minus 57. So need my engineer to do that for me.
So roughly 160. How many residential units would be allowed on 160 acres?
We'd have to
With
calculate.
the exact,
Yeah,
with the exact zoning as it is right now.
we'd have to calculate that because the underlying zoning district allows 20,000 square foot lots. So that's a little more than 2 lots per acre. But if you subtract out like the typical common ground, the vegetative buffers, the streets, et cetera, it takes a lot out of that. So,
Well, he's already taken it out, so.
yeah.
He said there's roughly 160 acres.
So that's 320 homes if it's two per acre.
What I'm getting at is they came in right now and said they want to put in 328 homes. You guys would just have to approve it because it hit the ordinance.
If a development came in that didn't have a PUD, that just had the underlying R1B single-family district zoning, that came in with a plat, it conformed with all of the technical requirements of the plat, we would be obligated to approve the plat. Yeah, and the way I see it, it's the same situation with the PUD plat as well. If there's a PUD plat that, if there's a preliminary plat for a PUD, and it meets all of the technical requirements of the plat, meets all the underlying zoning, in my thinking, we're obligated to approve the plat.
So you guys already had something approved. I'm a little fuzzy as to exactly what's going on with that.
Okay.
So you had a different plat approved that was 500 and,
So in 2010, that was approved,
okay,
which is the rezoning and the PUD.
Okay.
So there was a rezoning approved to R1B.
so if you wanted to build, well, it's not specific, it's just a general concept, right?
That was amended, though, to a current plan. This is the
Okay.
current plan. And this current plan is a 3-sheet plan. This is sheet 1, this is sheet 2, and this is sheet 3. So this is currently approved. This concept plan, that's why I wrote concept plan up there.
Is already approved.
This
Okay.
is already approved for 400 and, that's not it, this is it. For 474 units. This
So I
is,
guess my question is, what is the difference between what you already have approved and what you're asking us to
well,
approve today?
the difference is, the process is you rezone the property with the PUD, concept plan approval, and then you get, then what happens is, I have to start looking at it and say, hey, can I make this work? So I get a better topo, I get a better boundary survey, I get all of the things I need to do. I start talking to the pipeline company, and I try to get all my facts in order. And then I see if I can get this to match the concept plan. A lot of times you can't.
Okay.
Now, in this particular case, it's very, 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 very close to what the concept plan is. And mostly that's because I actually did have a good topo. I didn't have a complete topo because between that plan, which is approved, and this plan, the big difference is, honestly, this area changed because, like I told you, we moved the lake down from up there to down here. And these lots were lost because we needed more room for detention. And I think there's probably some other changes that took place, but
So it sounds like what you're telling me is the subdivision being built has already been approved. That's already, the fact that this is what we're approving is the specifics, the minutia of exactly how it's going to be built. Not that it's going to be built, but how it's going to be built. Is that correct?
you're approving, and the planning director, you're approving the final plan. So,
Right. The
so
specifics.
in the subdivision ordinance, you have to go through this process, and the next process after this would be improvement plan
Right.
approval, which would be through the staff. But it goes from the zoning to a concept to a final development plan. And they call it a final development plan because this is and I feel good about it because it matches so closely to the concept plan.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is not just for myself, but for everyone here that's listening.
Okay.
Is that the subdivision itself, the building of the subdivision has already been approved. And all we're voting on today is the specifics of exactly how you're going to do it. Is that relatively accurate?
You're voting on a final development plan and a preliminary plat, which is the next step.
Okay.
But you know,
Yeah, it's,
that's approved. This is the next step. And,
Okay.
and,
yeah, it's, if you look at the staff report, our two questions is lot size, width, and setback, because of those different sizes of private homes, and then the S-curve.
and I didn't really go through the lot sizes again, because they're basically the same as what was on the concept plan, but that little chart right down there is how many of each type of lots. I will tell you, by doing this type of a layout right here, I was able to make the lots a lot deeper. So normally, you know, you have an 80-foot lot and it's maybe 125-foot deep. And most of these lots over here actually are like 145 feet deep. So we were able to make them deeper. And most of them have common ground behind them. And actually, we put common ground even here between the lots because I had the room between that creek and this wooded area, which I wanted to preserve.
What is do you have an estimate of the build-out of the entire project?
Yeah, so I actually gave this, and I think this was part of the concept plan, but I wish I would have brought a slide of this, and I'll give it to you here.
Well,
But
you can put it on the,
no,
don't need
I
to-
can't. But
There you go.
You had it.
oh, okay.
Pull it down a little bit, there you go.
So this is the development, the construction schedule that was part of I think it was part of the concept plan, but this is site improvements. So that gray area, you can't see the color very well, but that gray area right there is site improvements. So it'd be the construction, the grading, the construction of the sewers and everything like that. And then this, phase 1, would be the home construction. So it starts here in, sometime in 2026. You probably start occupying houses, because it takes like 9 months to build a house now. But so you'd be occupying houses here in 2027, and that's the phase 1, which there is 2 phases that'll be built in. And then the phase 2 of the single family starts right here and gets built through 2030. So that's 2029, so 2020, 2030. And these are the commercial lots, which we really don't have any plans for the commercial lots right now. Nobody is looking at them, nobody has bought them, but I just put those on there as, I blocked the whole time out because you don't know when those are gonna happen. And then these are the townhomes. And honestly, there's nobody on the townhouses right now. So the things that you're gonna see built are the single-family houses. And they would be built basically they'd be closed and occupied starting in late 2026 probably, maybe 2027, through 2030. And so that's the phasing of it.
How many single-family homes are you looking at?
There are, I should have this off the top of my head. So the homes, there's 107 90-foot lots, 107 90-foot lots. There's 94 78-foot lots. There's 82 62-foot lots, and then there's 100 villa lots. So whatever that comes out to, 300 and
170
something.
plus what?
107 plus 94 plus 82 plus 100.
Are your villas
So
attached? to
383.
detached?
The villas are detached. They're not attached. The only thing that's attached is, and I can go back to the other thing. So
So that's 383 homes, so basically you have another 90 of the townhomes and the,
yeah,
okay.
these are the townhomes,
Okay.
and these are the single family. So there's 380 some single family, and those will be built, through 2030.
Any other questions for the applicant? I do have one for staff. What is the zoning on the commercial lots?
Right now? It's R1B, single-family
No,
residential.
commercial lots.
Yeah, it's R1B, single-family residential with a PUD overlay. That's the current zoning. So with the PUD overlay, you can have a range of land uses, and the ordinance spells out exactly which zoning district uses are allowed within the PUD. So it's all, the entire tract is R1B, single-family residential with a PUD overlay.
Okay. So they sell the 7 commercial lots. Will they have to come back? as to-
No.
What control do we have on what goes on those commercial lots?
The ordinance specifies that, how it's to be treated in terms of the zoning. They have to meet the zoning district of I think it's the C2, zoning district. COC1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the two districts.
And
So the uses that are allowed in the CO office commercial,
You want to turn on your microphone?
yeah, the CO office commercial and the C1 neighborhood commercial would be what would be allowed in there.
Okay, thank you. And then, I'm sorry, I should have thought of this before, but specifically to your question, Mr. Niemiller, in your packet in the staff report, there is this density bonus calculation, and if you go like halfway down the calculation, it tells you how many dwellings could be developed before the density bonus calculation. So for instance, you take the total PUD area, you subtract out the commercial area, you subtract out the right-of-way, subtract out the detention basins, and what's called the project area is 207 acres. And so, and you divide that by the standard residential density, and you get this net development of 453 dwellings before any 453 dwellings before any density bonuses. So I think that probably answers your question, because you wanted to know, if you subtract out the,
My question was,
Yeah.
if they just came in, followed the zoning per the letter, had no exceptions, no S-curves, no nothing, how many houses could they come in, do a plat, and just
540.
have to be approved?
It was 540 if I recall on the,
and you just have to do a calculation. There's not a standard answer for that. The lots have to be at least a minimum of 20,000 square feet, and then you have to subtract out the streets and all that. But I could do a calculation and give you an estimate.
I think that the general question, if I'm understanding correctly, is what happens if we don't approve this? If we don't approve this, what can they already build? I think that's what he's trying to figure out, is what can they do without this approval?
single-family residential, R1B, single-family residential.
On 20,000.
uses On 20,000 square foot.
And how many dwelling units would that be? Is, what I'm trying to get at is if they just followed
Yeah.
the ordinance to the T, how many would they do, could they get versus coming to us
I'd
asking
have to
for
do
a
a
PUD?
calculation. I can't do it on the fly.
I think we
Sorry.
figured that that was 300 and something. I think we figured 162 acres times, 320-ish.
320-ish plus a 15% bonus.
You got roads and detention basins and sidewalks, so, it's gonna be less than that.
Well, that was already taken into account common areas and
Wouldn't have to put the
things.
sidewalks in if you didn't want.
Yeah, you don't have to do all that stuff,
Or
yeah.
the trails,
With-
or the sidewalks, or the ballpark.
And even the common areas are not, those are optional, those, they're added, so you don't even have to take those into account.
Okay.
So
Well-
there could potentially be more.
Any questions for the applicant? Anything further? Okay, thank you.
One more
Hold on,
question.
go ahead.
Did you go to the city of Wentzville to be annexed?
No. What was the question?
Did you go to the city of Wentzville to be annexed in?
No. Because again, this is a process that's been, I actually started working on this in 2008, in
Okay.
08.
Because you
So
went through the county first, okay.
17 years for me, so, from my point of view, there's a existing PUD in place, so I don't have to do a straight R1B.
Okay.
And I have a
Okay.
concept plan in place. And I understand the traffic situation, but the plan itself is already in place, and we're just trying to do a final plan that matches it. And I understand also that we have to, I'll save my preaching to the end, so,
Okay,
any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. So we'll now open the public hearing for PRE 25-01 and PRE 25-11. Anyone wishing to speak, come forward. Remember, you have 3 minutes. I'll give you a 1-minute signal. So if you have anyone wishing to speak. Surely somebody's going to speak.
No, that's okay. I think he was. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep, hold on, let me get my timer set here. You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings from the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Eric Fields. I live at 11 Wild Turkey Run in O'Fallon.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I'll avoid the traffic issue, obviously. I think everybody understands that the traffic is a disaster as it stands. I'm sure some of us know, maybe some people don't, there's 1,500 homes being built about a half mile to the east of this location right now. There's no way that traffic can be brought into a traffic study yet because it doesn't exist yet, but the homes are being built, we all know, at Harvest and at Post Farms. I'm really here more to ask the Planning and Zoning Committee to really think about these subdivisions that are being proposed and popped up. This is another 400 plus homes. The school district cannot handle this stuff. The roadways can't handle this stuff. We're basically turning St. Charles County into just an extension of St. Louis County. We're going to be all giant neighborhoods, strip malls, grocery stores, and big box stores if this keeps up. And that's really something we should look at and probably try to stay away from because this is St. Charles County and not St. Louis County, and people leave St. Louis County to get away from that, and yet we're turning this place into the same thing. I'm also here to speak to the people that might catch this at home or be watching it on their YouTubes. There's a massive swell amongst the people in the community that are opposed to these developments and stuff like this. And I realize that people write emails and they have this, that, or the other reason that they can't come to these meetings. I'm appealing to the people that are watching at home. You need to come to these meetings. You need to show up. You need to show the people that are on the Planning and Zoning Committee, you need to show the people on the County Council that you're actually opposed. And as much as the emails help, you need to be here in person. So the next meetings that are held, please, people come out. Let the members of these committees see, that the community really is opposed to these giant subdivisions being put in. Thank you.
Anyone else? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Nathan Harms, Executive Director, Treehouse of Greater St. Louis, 332 Stable Lane, Wentzville, Missouri.
Go ahead, sir.
As the Executive Director of Treehouse of Greater St. Louis, we're a nonprofit that provides equine-assisted therapy to individuals with disabilities and their families for over 50 years in St. Charles County. Appreciate the opportunity to share public comment tonight. I'm here to express our opposition to and concerns regarding applications PRE 2511 and PUD 2501 for the Menchers Farm subdivision. The 80-acre therapeutic campus of Treehouse of Greater St. Louis is adjacent to a parcel included in the proposed high-density development. I did note there was some conversation earlier. It is the parcel that on page 15 is marked one way, and on page 21 it's marked a different way. One place it says future development, another one slots it for 20 lots on 19 acres. We anticipate environmental impacts, detrimental changes to the character of nearby homes and neighborhoods, and a significant worsening of existing traffic congestions and safety issues that we have already all talked about. Also, the concerns that we shared involving horses in therapy for individuals with disabilities. Earlier this year, regarding a smaller 15-lot proposal off of Highway Z, are amplified in this new higher density proposal. Our concerns continue to be rooted in the health and safety of the people we serve and in the community that we share. Highway N, as we already discussed, currently experiences substantial delays and persistent traffic jams during morning and afternoon commutes, disrupting daily life and business operations for all, including clients, volunteers, and staff who utilize this thoroughfare to access our facility for therapy. This development promises to add a substantial volume of vehicles to an already overburdened road network, exacerbating an already dire situation. While there's been conversation today, it appears that there is no timeline for those improvements. At this time, it looks like from MoDOT's website, there appears to still be a fall community advisory group process to review conceptual design and gather input that's noted as not started. Furthermore, the increased density and corresponding rise in impervious surfaces pose a threat to the health of Little Darden Creek and surrounding areas. I believe, I'm not a soil scientist, but in my read, the feedback from Soil and Water indicated that a significant portion of soils had very slow infiltration rates, which obviously would need to be addressed to mitigate issues with drainage, water runoff, and erosion for surrounding areas. Lastly, our shared communities chose this area for its more rural atmosphere, its tranquility, and that's important to our operations and also to the community, I believe. We believe this is not the right time or place for this project or any project of similar scale. We respectfully request that the Planning and Zoning Commission deny this proposal, and we urge the Commission to support responsible growth, including reduced density and other mitigating efforts to lessen the impact the development will have on adjacent landowners as well as all of us. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Oh, hold.
Oh, sorry.
They gotta make a deadline to be on the news. You solemnly swear or affirm that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Wes Norton, 16 Clear Lake Court in the New Valley Lakes Estates, adjacent to the area. I have the impressive presentation from the engineer here, and I agree with a lot of things that therapeutic sportsmanship has just said there. I won't repeat those. A couple of things. Mr. Baker, you were right on cue. What we should be looking at, at least two people in the Missouri Department of Transportation say that it will be at least 10 years before there's actual construction to expand in this area. So we should be clear on that. There's been some different things said out here. So I was hoping that Ms. Brower would be here tonight. Tried to reach her, but I have not been able to talk with her. She working with MoDOT, and I think she would probably say that what I'm relating to you is correct. So that is very critical. I'm a former safety engineer. When I try to get out onto Highway N now, as the current traffic is, it is often very much taking a chance when there is a gap long enough to get into that space, and that can only get worse. I think the other thing that's been broached here is you as a commission looking at the quality of St. Charles County and how your decisions are based on density. And this, again, was very well planned, very well prepared, but it's very clear that every inch of this acreage is being used, and density is not one of the qualifying decision makers. So as you're looking at your decision logic, I would really ask you, not only with this, but as you know the other things that have been approved, if your decision is improving or if it is deteriorating all of those issues. We've already talked about the schools, but with this many new homes in there, there's bound to be, I don't know if they studied it, how many they're likely to be, but added to our schools that are straight across from there. I've been here for 32 years. I don't recall in 2010 having had the opportunity to input into the decision. I don't know how many of you all were on this commission. It keeps being discussed that this has already been approved. I know at least, I think it was 2 or 3 places, the changes that you mentioned reduced the amount of setback. And so that is a change that relates right to the increased density of this type of development. And that includes, I'm sure, the setback from New Melly Lake Estates and my acreage, which is just adjacent. So I appreciate a chance to have input. I hope that this is still an open item. There is equipment that's already been lined up at this acreage, and so I hope it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to pass this and move forward with quarter 2025, which we're already in the middle of October, where they're planning on the first phase of this. So thank you for the chance to talk.
Thank you, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings, or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Dolores Twellman. I live at 29 East Highway N, which is adjacent to the water tower and Highway Z. Lived there for almost 30 years now. Moved from Cottleville to that area, thinking I was moving to the country. And my dad developed Duckett Creek Sewer District as Bill Patty, so I'm very familiar with this. We've been builders with MCI Construction for over 50 years. I own a crane company, Missouri Cranes, so we have commercial in that area. I'm familiar with the Kolb family quite well, good family. And I believe that farmers have the right to sell, developers have the right to build, but you have to have the infrastructure there to do so. Without that, you have a dangerous situation out there. I have watched it where it has just developed into an unbelievable mess. There's no side street. I mean, you don't have any curbs. I mean, they put a little bit of curbs down, thank goodness, but there is none. You can't get off the road. The accidents in front of our house are plentiful. There needs to be some police studies also with what goes along with the traffic reports. My daughter-in-law is an autistic school teacher at Liberty, and she just said yesterday, we are at capacity. Timberland's at capacity. Are we even looking at the school districts to see what they're doing? I'd like to know about Public Water District number 2. How are they going to supply water? Wilmer Road, their subdivisions over there have a huge problem with water. They cannot get the volume they need in these homes. There are so many issues here. I believe, and I hate to say this, I mean, I really do. I've built my own subdivisions, first condominiums in St. Charles, but I think a moratorium needs to be done to force MoDOT to give us what we need. We have been promised, expansion of our roads. We have not got it. And until we get that, we got to quit building. Post subdivision is going full force. There's no way that we can handle any more traffic on that highway. My grandkids go to Lutheran. I cannot believe how much we depend upon the good nature of our neighbors to let us in and out. And once in a while you get a guy that's going to let you go and then he decides not to, and then you got a break. I just
You got
need
more time.
you to understand that this needs to be looked at a lot more than what you've done here tonight. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tom Ruff. I'm here as a representative of Emmanuel Lutheran Church, which is at 632 East Highway N. Been seen many times this evening on the plots. We're at our location currently because of the generosity of the Mencher family, who gifted land for us to build the church in that location. And following that, we've experienced some tremendous growth. We've had a lot of growth in both weekend ministries as well as our school. That's led us to kind of look at some of the limitations we have with our campus. We formed an LRP, a long-range planning committee, and came up with two primary limitations on our property right now, and that's traffic, which has been mentioned, and sanitation, sanitary sewer access. Those are the two biggest problems we have with our current campus and utilizing that. We currently have 550 kids a day, approximately, going in and out for preschool through 8th grade. And that of course totals up to a lot of flushes as well, right? So a lot of things to deal with a septic system. We've tried to address both ourselves. We approached MoDOT, we went to Duckett Creek, we talked to different people at county. We basically were stuck. We then got a phone call from the Kolbs as part of encouragement from the Mencher family to speak to us about the needs and issues that we have. We felt that was kind of an answer to prayer for us, because primarily the development, as has been talked about this evening, relieves those two biggest issues that we've got. The Kolbs have been very open with us and very willing to discuss our needs and limitations. And we feel that they've helped incorporate solutions to those into the problem as well. We do want that direct access onto, I always call it South Perry Kate, but I guess it's going to be called Dyer now. But we want that access there and be able to get to that light, because we do have that backup that occurs and a lot of dangerous traffic incidents occur, people entering and leaving our property. We also look forward to maybe someday when not only can we exit, especially to the west out of our property using a stoplight, but perhaps people will be able to get to that eventual connection down into Dyer Road and be able to get off of N entirely as well with future development down in that direction. And of course, we would tap into the sanitary sewer as quickly as we can. So just want to voice our support as an organization. There are other members of the congregation here as well, including our current board chairman, if you need any other questions from us or issues from us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Renee Hinke. I'm at 25 Rouse Court in Wentzville. I'm also on the Wentzville School Board of Education. As many have already said, the schools are at capacity. So we're looking at not only just Timberland, but we're also looking at South Boone Trail and Stone Creek. Stone Creek is on the other side of Stone Meadows, right there on Highway Z. These schools are at capacity. That is not including Post Farm and the other neighborhoods. Those will all funnel to these schools. So with being over capacity, what is going to happen is we're going to have much higher classrooms. Right now, we have upwards of 30 children in one classroom. So that's going to increase. And I'm sure you're saying, well, you can read boundary. And we are talking about that. But what you're going to find is you're going to have kids living next to Timberland going to a farther out school. We already have that with Stone Creek. With Stone Meadows, all of those kids go to Boone Trail, even the kids that live next to Stone Creek. I really, really implore you to consider how this affects our children on their education. We can see our scores are already declining, and I think that this development is a contributing factor, among others. But we are going to continue to see overgrowth, we're going to have higher classrooms, and then those kids won't get the needs that they are needing for their education. So I just really implore you to think about the schools and how this impacts our future children. Thank you.
Now you got to get the stopwatch again. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Rose Zook, 8007 Oak Grove Court, O'Fallon.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I really appreciate and the amenities they were going to give this subdivision is wonderful. But why would the P&Z agree to a 7,000 square foot lot? But I think he mentioned a variance to 5,000 square feet. Will that even give you room to put your riding mower for your lawn? And as everybody already mentioned with the traffic, I'm not sure, and I hope you guys vote no for this. As small as the units or the land itself is going to be, I understand that some people don't want yards anymore, but this is a rural area. Why can't the P&Z suggest to the builders 1 acre, 3 acres? That would have been a beautiful spot to do 3-acre lots. So that's all I had.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Name is William Laskowski, 12 Persimmon Ridge Court, Defiance, Missouri.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm a longtime resident of St. Charles County. I've driven all these roads here, and obviously the traffic is the big concern that has been expressed here tonight. I've heard the presentation from Vols. I'm also a member of Emmanuel. I should get that out there too. So do we have a self-interest there? Yes, we're going to benefit. And I think part of the big benefits, to echo what Tom had said before, we've got a safety in and out children with the school. It's going to help a great deal. And I think we look at this as a congregation in maybe a more long-term way. Is Highway N going to get improved? Yeah, it's going to get improved. Exactly when, I think, based on what we've heard earlier today, they're working on it right now. Don't know when all of that funding is going to come through, but obviously it's a clear-cut need, and I believe MoDOT's going to come through and do what's necessary as everything develops. I come from the south there, having the connection from Deal and the roundabout that's proposed off of Highway D. I look at that as a way to offload Highway N eventually. That's what this arterial road will do. So when we look at that, it's more from a long-term perspective. I think this actually will help traffic long-term when all of that's in place and everything's going to be good, and it'll help us to serve the wider community that we would like to serve because of all the new development that's happening out there. And would urge approval of both of these actions tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? You solemnly swear or affirmatively will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings on the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate, mailing address, P.O. Box 1535 in O'Fallon. I want to first off by starting to say, according to the application and staff's diagnosis of this application, it's 520 dwellings. They want a density bonus of 15%. Give me a break. It's about citizens over profits, in my opinion. The city of Wentzville has received lots of email, lots of phone conversations with city officials. There are concerns with the city of Wentzville over traffic, use of high density, and use of a free pass to developers using the bonus entity or bonus amenity of the county codified code. Overcapacity of schools, you heard directly from a school board member. I'm here to tell you that she's correct 100%. The 2030 Envision St. Charles County Land Use Plan supports low-density residential and land use providing for single-family housing not to exceed 4 units per acre. This is far exceeding the 4 units per acre. Verification that the ordinance 10-004 is, in my opinion, invalid and has expired and can be challenged down the hill at our county circuit court building. There has not been provided a traffic study or any analysis by County Highway Department or Missouri Department of Transportation. I had a conversation today with the leaders of the St. Louis region, and there's a lot of questions to be answered. In my opinion, we're putting the cart before the horse, as Commissioner Baker stated, and you need to table this because that's the first stop, is the traffic study. Motor vehicle access opportunities, the plan does not document if both churches are agreeable to allowing access to their respective property, to allow cross-access, and to allow additional points of traffic, ability to reach the signalized intersection at Prairie Cape Boulevard. Now, from the Wentzville School District, on September 4th, a letter, schools are to capacity, Liberty High School is exceeded the population allowance, Timberland High School has exceeded the allowance, elementary schools have exceeded the allowance, safety at Missouri Highway N with children and pickup of the buses. The Wentzville Fire District, in a letter dated October 8th, some similar concerns that need to be considered by the commission, but you never really talk or debate about those correspondence from our partners. Do not use plan unit development, known as PDU. This is a free pass, lax of conditions over residents of the neighborhood. No special, in my opinion, deficiencies of the property. They claim that there might be an obstacle with the creek and the pipeline. Well, guess what? They bought the property knowing the conditions when they closed at the title company. This allows a free pass, exemptions, and variances to a developer. I ask that we follow the county code. Width of lot sizes, frontage as low as 42 feet. Again, give me a break. Parcel square footage, minimum lot requirements, give me a break. Front building line, ridiculous. Side building line, we could have fires go from house to house to house. Additional commercial opportunities need to happen here. Commercial needs to be built first. There needs to be more acreage for commercial. The right-of-way needs to be donated up front as needed right-of-way for Highway N rather than a great expense to taxpayers. $750,000 to $1 million needs to be put up in an escrow for the signalization rather than on the taxpayers' backs. Walking of multi-use trails and sidewalks. Again, there's no traffic study, that's step one. Current cluster at rush hours, I implore each of you to go down there. Flood of emails in opposition, which are part of your packet, in addition to 21 emails uploaded by staff this afternoon.
Your time.
10 more seconds here, sir. Strict gas line safety needs to be adhered to with Missouri Department of Natural Resources. This needs to remain R1, which is responsible and control growth. It's not about profits for the developer, to my right, but it's trampling the community standards and cramming as many dwellings that you can and screw the neighborhood. I'm opposed to this development. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
I swear.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Kenton Marsh, 3249 Green Trails Court, Wentzville.
Go ahead, sir.
I probably own more property line along adjacent to this than all but one other person here, I think. And I grew up in this area. I can't think of many farms that are still left from here to Wentzville. Both my grandparents owned farms here. My whole family's been here forever. So how do those farms look now? They either look separated up in little boxes with no green space, just chopped up in squares, and a little tiny park in the corner. And it's kind of embarrassing. You can tell who really cared about their property when they sold it or donated it, and you can tell who was out to make a buck. I'm really impressed with this plan that was put up here. Tons of green space, woods, trails, lakes, more green space than needed. Nobody's being greedy. It looks great. It's not broken up into little squares that you could just postage stamp houses on. You could see where deer are still going to run across this place. It's not great, but developments happen. My family farms are both my grandparents' farms are also developed. I wish they looked as good as that. I'm pretty much the entire western property line of this parcel, other than Clear Lake Court Road and New Melly Lake subdivision. So this probably affects me and one other person here more than anybody. I see a lot of good things. That Emmanuel Lutheran, it's an amazing thing for the community. But it's a train wreck right now. Giving them a way out, it's going to save a life. It's a disaster right there. You give them a way out to a stoplight, and we won't have a funeral at that church probably next year. That's a big deal. Everybody's here. Everybody's hyped up about the traffic. It's a mess, and it's going to get fixed. But that's first and foremost. You give that church a way out. I think everybody agrees with that, whether this goes through or not. So this affects me, and I'm looking at it right here in the tiny little thing, and there's a lot of green space out there instead of postage stamps. So I think they did a fantastic job.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in
I
these
do.
proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Mark Strutman, 2567 Jackson Road, Wentzville, Missouri.
Go ahead, sir.
So I just want to echo what the guy just got done saying, is that they did a great job on putting the subdivision together. I'm from St. Gianna's. Father wasn't able to show up tonight, but he also kind of was on the board with being able to have that access to go over to that stoplight. Traffic's going to get bad, but at least we could make it safe in the meantime. So I, for one, am for the way they've done it. They've left plenty of green space, things like that. So I've seen a lot of subdivisions, and most of the time they look pretty checkerboard. This one does not. This one has a lot of cul-de-sacs, a lot of places to get away. You know, the 5-foot setback on the front, I don't know, it's going to be pretty close to a sidewalk since they have them on both sides, but I, for one, would echo that it looks like a pretty fair project, and MoDOT will catch up. They always do, you know, but they got to have the traffic there first to start with. So hopefully I don't get shot getting out of here now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings from the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Paige Ahern, 7109 Whisper Creek, and I'm in Wentzville.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So I'm kind of representing, I live in Stone Meadows, and I'm representing the children who actually are at that high school at Timberland. So we've been talking about all of the traffic, but there is a lot of other things. You can't just look at the homes that are being built around that Highway N. It's also all of the children that have to be going to Timberland and driving on that road. I was instrumental in making sure that there was a stoplight at N and Z. Perry Kate used to go all the way through. They had one stop sign, and now they have two. Because kids could not cross the street. They couldn't walk. One of the big problems is the buses. There's no busing anymore. Everybody has to walk to a main street. These kids have to walk really far. There's a lot of kids, even if they go into this subdivision, they still have to get to school. They either get walked to the bus stop or parents take them. The traffic for the parents taking the children to school is outrageous. And when you're there in the morning trying to get out of the subdivision, Emmanuel Lutheran's coming, you have people coming from all over directions to take their kids to school. It's not even just the subdivisions that are being built on the Highway N, but it's all of the people who are bringing their kids to the school. It's the high schoolers that are driving to and from. There are no side, we talked about this before, there's no shoulder, there's no way to get over. If there's emergency vehicles, it is impossible to get through. Very, very dangerous. I've lived there for 18 years now. I've watched the development. We stopped one subdivision that was going to go in through through Stone Meadows. We just need to look at the infrastructure. Highway N cannot support this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone? Okay, we'll close the public hearing for PRE 25-01 and PRE 25-11. Ask the applicant to come back. Anyone have any questions for the applicant? I do have one, I guess to staff, and you also, does the plat meet all the current water control standards, water quality standards with a runoff detention?
Yeah, yes, it does. And then the details will be worked in the subdivision improvement plan stage, which is the next stage after preliminary plat. But the short answer is yes.
Anyone else on the commission have any questions yet? No? Thank you, sir. Okay, the chair will bring application PRE 25-01 and 25-11 back to the commission for consideration. Application PUD 25-01 is a review and recommendation on a final development plan for Mentor Farm subdivision. And application PRE 25-11 is review and recommendation on a preliminary plat for Mentor Farms subdivision. Any questions, comments among the
Are we doing both at the same time? Or?
No, we'll have two different votes. We'll have two different votes.
What's the difference between the votes again?
2501 is
is a review and recommendation on a final development plan, which is
The specifics of
that's
the
the
plan.
plan unit development. And 2511 is review and recommendation on a preliminary plat for Mincher Farms subdivision. Both of these would be subject to, let me find it, the conditions set forth in the staff report, which is the variance on lot sizes, lot widths, and building setbacks as proposed in the preliminary plat and final development plan, and a variance from the subdivision regulations Exhibit A to allow one residential block length to exceed 1,320 feet for the S-curve portion of the looped street per section 410.480 variances of the county code. So both of these would be subject to those two conditions as recommended by staff. Any questions? Counselor, do you have any comments?
No, other than just kind of again on the preliminary plat, it is not to approve. It's just a recommendation of approval or denial to the council.
Yeah, so what's different on the preliminary plat, normally preliminary plat, if we approve, then it's approved and it goes forward. In this case, since it's tied with the PUD, both the preliminary plat and the plan unit development go to county council. And that will be on their agenda regardless of our vote at the Monday, November the 10th, 2025 county council meeting, which is back in this room. Okay. So our vote is just a recommendation. Okay, so there we go. Let's see, I need to do the plat first.
You can do the plat first, that's fine.
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to pass application PRE 25-11, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report. And this is to recommend a preliminary plat for the Mincher Farms subdivision. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shell, second. Ms. Kirshner, how do you vote?
No.
Mr. Baker?
No.
Mr. Shell?
No.
Mr. Niemiller?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
So it's a 3-3 tie. It's a recommendation of denial.
Yeah.
So it'll be, yeah.
Yeah. Next, the chair will entertain a motion to approve PUD 25-01. This is a recommendation on the final development plan for the Mincher Farms subdivision. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Niemiller made the motion. Is there a second? Ms. Barr made the second. Mr. Baker, how do you vote?
No.
Mr. Niemiller?
Yes.
Ms. Kirchner?
No.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Shell?
No.
And I vote yes. So, okay. So now both of these
Same.
will require a supermajority.
It'll be a majority of 5 affirmative votes for the
Yeah.
council, yes.
So since this was did not pass, it was 3-3, it will require a supermajority at the county council on their meeting on that Monday, November the 5th. So it will require five affirmative votes to approve either one of these. So that's the status. So, okay.
Is that November 10th or November 5th?
November 5th. Yeah.
No, 10th.
Is it 10th? Huh? Is it
Second Monday. Second Monday.
Oh, it is the 10th.
You said the 10th earlier.
Yeah.
I was confused with it, sorry.
Yeah, Monday, November 10th, second Monday. Okay, now, where's the agenda? Where's my agenda? There. Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the September 17th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the September 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to approve the September 17, 2025 meeting minutes. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Division updates. Anything, Robert?
I don't have a report for tonight. I don't have a report for tonight.
Okay. Zoning report. Okay. Well, here, let me get this paper.
You can make a motion to adjourn, and they can hear that.
Okay.
can move
Is
to
there
adjourn.
a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
We're out of here.
Do I need to sign something?
Pardon? Oh, yeah, we gotta.